Alright guys, welcome back. This is Brandon and I'm back with another episode of Brandon Burning Food today. And I'm actually back with a new series entirely for the channel. We're going to be filming the first episode of a series I call Cooking on a Budget today. And essentially what that is I'm going to be going to the grocery store with a fixed budget and I have to make a meal for that budget. Pretty simple, and I'm really excited about it. So let's get down to the rules real quick and then we will go to the store. Alright, so as far as the rules go, they're fairly simple and straightforward, but I'll just go through them with you guys. First and foremost, my budget is fixed and pre-tax. And what that means is, say I have $10 to spend, I have $10 to spend. I do not have $10.01, I do not have $10.25. It is firmly fixed at a cap, and I cannot go over it by even a penny. Pre-tax, I doubt I have any viewers who are from outside the United States, but in case I do, or somebody from outside the United States watches this, we have a thing here called sales tax. So basically the price you see on the shelf is not actually what you pay at the register. You're going to pay a little bit more. Usually it's around 5%. Just to make the math easier on myself, I'm going to be ignoring sales tax for this for the budget. It just makes things simpler. Secondly, I'm allowed to know what I want to cook before I go into the store. However, I'm going to try to avoid this. I'm going to try to kind of freestyle everything that I do. It's impossible for me to not get ideas, especially if I know the budget ahead of time, which I will at least for the first few episodes. I'm planning on introducing a randomizing element to it later on, but we'll get to that later. As for the meals themselves, they have to feed at least 2 people and they have to be balanced. And my definition of balance is 1 protein, 1 carb or starch, and 1 vegetable. Pretty simple and straightforward there. While I'm shopping, once an item has been put into my cart by me for this episode, it's locked in. I cannot then go and switch it out for something later because I realize that I don't have enough money for something that I saw or something like that. Once it's in the cart and it does not come out. Furthermore, another rule, the recipes all assume that you have basic kitchen staples. So for example, I'm not going to be buying salt in every episode. I'm not going to be buying olive oil in every episode. Things that are relatively cheap and will give you many, many uses in the kitchen and don't really go bad, such as salt, olive oil, butter, seasonings, that kind of thing, even like stock. I'm not going to count in the budget for these episodes. I'm going to keep those things stocked off camera. That would just make things really repetitive and overly complicated if I forced myself to buy those every episode. Not to mention I would end up with a ridiculous amount of all of that stuff in the kitchen all the time. So I'm just not going to do that. And lastly, and this one is pretty straightforward and obvious, but I figured I would include it just because nothing pre-cooked. And nothing that just requires being put in the oven, i.e. anything frozen, or, like I can't go to the grocery store and pick up a rotisserie chicken and just have that. That's cheating and I will not be doing that. A couple of notable exceptions to that. I am going to be allowing myself, if the mood strikes me later on down the road in a future episode, if I want to get, say, frozen ravioli or tortellini, or, pre-packaged tortellini, ravioli, filled pasta, stuff like that, I am going to let myself do that just because those things can be really good. They do require still active preparation, even though they come pre-assembled, and they're just too much of a pain to make in my kitchen. I don't have the space or the equipment to do it. But beyond that, we also have one, this isn't really a rule, it's just something I'm going to do. I highly doubt that I'm going to be spending exactly my budget every episode. I imagine there's going to be some change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that change and just sort of put it away. And eventually what I plan on doing is doing a special episode of this series with that leftover budget accumulated. But I am not going to aggressively pursue this. So I'm not going to say have a budget of $20 and try to spend 13 so I can put 7 in the jar. It's just going to be incidental change that builds up slowly over time. But yeah, that's the rules. So we're about to get shopping. I'll see you guys at the store. Alright y'all, so here I am. This is the store that I've chosen to go to today. We're at Publix. I love Publix. Publix is like just a conventional grocery store. It's really, really nice on the inside and clean, and it's not the cheapest grocery store in the world. It's definitely nothing like Aldi, but the prices are really fair. Everything's affordable and the selection is fantastic. Due to our budget today, which I just realized I haven't told you guys yet, we're working with a fixed budget of $20 today. Publix is perfect for that because $20 is it's a pretty easy budget. You should be able to make a meal for two for $20. So Publix is going to allow me to get access to a lot of really good ingredients, while at the same time being able to challenge myself a little bit. Like I said, $20 is easy. So what I'm going to do here to make at least part of this a little challenging on myself is I'm going to go in and overspend on the protein. Now there are two ways you can do this. You can either overbuy, and by that I mean buy a ton of it, like a ton of cheap stuff, so that you have a lot of leftovers. Or you can go more expensive with the protein and make one meal. I think that's what I'm gonna do, but in a future episode when I have a $20 budget, I'll also do it the other way around. I'll do a big, feed and have maybe having people over or something. But anyway, this is where we're at. This is where we're gonna be shopping. $20 is our budget. Let's get inside. Alrighty y'all, here we are. I'm in the meat department. You might have to bear with me a little bit on this first episode. I'm filming in public for the first time ever, and I'm a little nervous. There are other people around me for the first time. Most of the time I'm alone in my kitchen in my living room doing this, so I'm a little on edge, I guess you could say. But as you can see, we're at the pre-packed meat department, and we have a great selection here. Here's the beef. We're working our way down to the more organic stuff, but I'm actually going to go over the case in just a second. Alright, so here we are at the case. Now the case is the pre-cut and pre-assembled stuff. So this kind of thing right here, these pinwheels and these kebabs and the patties, I'm not going to be doing. Also these stuffed breasts, they're just too prepared for me. But here down at the end we have the raw stuff, the pork chops. As you can see, we're looking at about $8 a pound on the loin, and then the boneless is $4.84 a pound. Then the beef. Now this stuff is probably going to be too expensive for this episode. $13.99, $10.99 a pound. Not to mention I'm going to be cooking for my fiance tonight too, and she doesn't really love steak. So I'm going to give this some thought, and I will be back in a minute. Alright, now I've decided to take a little side trip to the seafood case. Like I said, I'm going to overspend on the protein for this episode, and it actually comes at a good time, kind of, because my fiance, who I'm cooking for tonight as well, has an impacted wisdom tooth, and her mouth is killing her. So I was kind of thinking about steak when I walked in the door, but I remembered that might be a little tough on her mouth. So I'm coming over here, and I think I may have found a winner. We've got $8.99 a pound for salmon. I love salmon, she loves salmon, and it's easy on your mouth. So essentially $9 purchase for the protein would actually be a little on the lower end of what I was thinking. So I think we may have found a winner. I'm just going to kind of mull it over for a few minutes and get back to you.
Alrighty, so we got it. We got about a little under a pound of salmon for just under $8. And as you can see, it's in the cart, so it's locked in. We got a remaining budget of $12.18.
So now we're in the produce department, and this is kind of the order that I'm going to be doing the shopping for in these videos, is protein, produce, starch. It's just because they tend to be in descending order of cost that way. And also, your protein is going to be your most expensive thing on your menu, and it's also kind of what you build your dish around. So you should have an idea of what you're going to get first. Now, I have, like I said, I have a remaining budget of $12.18, and I have salmon. So I have to work from there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some garlic. This is, let's see, $3.99 a pound. And we're looking at not even a quarter pound there. So that will be pretty cheap. I don't know exactly how much, but it definitely won't interfere with our budget. Garlic goes great with salmon. So we're gonna be doing that. And then I'm gonna head over here to the actual produce section. Now, this is where it gets kind of tough, because a lot of stuff goes well with salmon, but a lot of stuff also doesn't. So you kind of got to be careful, as well as with price. So I'm looking around, and I would kind of like to do asparagus, but I don't see it. Now, I'm an expert at looking right at something and not seeing it, as my fiance. Oh, here we go. Asparagus. So this is $3 for a 1 pound bag. And it's pretty good looking stuff, nice and thick.
With asparagus, ideally you want the thicker stalks, not the thinner. They cook more evenly and they don't cook as fast and they're less likely to burn. So we're gonna do, yeah, we'll get one of these. That's $2.99 down. So let me see, with the $7.82, $12.18 minus 2 is, so we're looking at about $9.19 left. And then with the garlic, which is probably about $1, we're looking at about $8 left. So that's honestly a lot for a starch. So let's see if we can find something else around here to pair with this, and I'll get back to you. Alright guys, so I'm actually here on the Asian and the ethnic aisle. And one thing that I want to do is I'm going to pick up some hoisin sauce because I'm going to be making, ooh, close one. I'm going to be making a honey glazed garlic glaze for the salmon. And I have over $8 left of my budget. So this is going to add a nice little hint of sweetness with adding a nice, I guess the only way I can really describe it is just like an Asian accent to the glaze that I'm going to put on the salmon. So this is $2.39. So we're going to be subtracting that from our budget. We have like $8.12 or 11 cents, I think. So that's going to take us down to less than $6. And then we're going to go probably back to produce to grab our starch, which I think I'm just going to do potatoes just for the sake of ease. So here we have our 4 items right now: asparagus, garlic, salmon, and hoisin sauce. They're all in the cart, they're all locked in. So I'm going to head back over to produce now. So just an aside, here's an interesting ingredient. This is yucca root. And yucca is a great substitute for potatoes. I'm not going to be doing it tonight. It's a lot of trouble to peel, and especially when you don't have like a really heavy duty peeler like I don't. But I just saw it and figured I would throw it in there. We are actually where we need to be though. This is what we wanted to come for, the loose russet potatoes. And you can buy these by the bag, or you can buy them individually. Either way is fine. The benefit to buying them individually, like I'm about to, is you can inspect them each before you grab them. They're 99 cents a pound. We're probably looking at about 2 pounds or so, so looking at about $2, and that's going to be it. So we are going to have some leftover budget on this one, but just the first episode. And here we are, we're done. I'm about to know what the final total was when I check out. Like I said, with the garlic and the potatoes, it's hard to get an actual definite price, but I know that for a fact that I'm under budget. But this is it, and it's a big cart for only 5 things, but I didn't mean to get this big of a cart. Oh well. We've got asparagus, we've got fresh salmon, we've got russet potatoes, hoisin sauce, and garlic. That's what we're working with tonight, so let's go check out, and when I'm done with that, I'll give you guys the final count, and then we'll head home. And here we are back in the car. As you can see here, number one, I did trim the receipt, cut off some just identifying information about the store, things I wouldn't be wanting to put on the internet. And our final total was $15.28. We didn't hit the budget. I kind of knew going into this that $20 was going to be too easy. Cooking for 2 for $20 is very simple. So I kind of had a feeling I wasn't going to hit the budget. However, I didn't realize how much I would miss it by. But that's okay. You know, now we know, move on, lower the budget for future episodes to make it more challenging, because that's definitely an element that I want to include into this series. And I got to the point at the store where I was basically like, you know, I can either just start buying frivolously to hit $20 just for the sake of hitting the budget, or I can come in almost $5 under, have that be a decent start to our special episode fund, and go from there. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and yeah, I'm gonna get inside and get cooking. I'll see you soon.